Hi, this is Ruth Royal from Youth Pledge for Employers, and I'm really pleased to be here today with Ross Lenton, who is owner at Dynamic Fitness. Hello, Ross. Lovely to meet you.
Hey, Ruth, you too?
So, first of all, Ross, obviously I can see that it's to do with fitness, but tell us a bit about what Dynamic Fitness does as an organisation.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So we're a small fitness studio in the centre of Norwich, just down from John Lewis. And we basically predominantly train people on a one-to-one basis. So we'll have, when we're busiest, we'll have 3 sessions going on at once with 3 different trainers. So we just see people to work on their specific goals, rather than it being a casual gym where people are coming in and out. It'll just be appointment only. Everyone's got a focused target, and you'll see someone like me, an experienced PT, to take you through those goals.
Wow, so really one-to-one, really bespoke support then for people.
Yeah, so I saw a gap in the market about 15 years ago where people weren't using the gym. Maybe they felt it was a bit intimidating. The big space environment was quite hard to deal with. So I decided to set up just a smaller environment just for personal training, so people could come in and feel comfortable about working on their fitness.
God, that's a brilliant idea. So just that sense that actually to giving people who want to work on a specific goal, a different environment to do it in. That's a great idea.
We'd like to feel that people feel really comfortable. That's our USP, I guess. And then we can go from there and improve them week on week if they're feeling good to do it.
Wow, that sounds brilliant. And so for the skills then of people working for you at Dynamic Fitness or with you, what sort of skills do people need to have then? Because I'm guessing presumably they need to be trained as a personal trainer, but what does that involve?
Yeah, so once you've gone through your qualification as a PT, it very much is a case of people skills, and being able to develop a relationship with clients. And I've always said a phrase saying people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I always make trainers really care about their clients, and then their clients will keep coming back. So the main skills they need is just personal skills to interact with the clients and actually take an interest in everyone that they see. And then the clients will then listen to them and their knowledge.
So that sense of those communication skills, those interpersonal skills are really vital then in terms of what you're doing.
Yeah, you're paying an interest to a person's lifestyle, really. So you'll get to know, do they have a dog to go out and walk it? Do they have a partner that likes exercise? Do they have more options where they live to walk a bit more or cycle more? And just generally, you get to know the person as a person, not just throwing exercises at them week to week. You're really getting to help their lifestyle grow. So yeah, it really is that personal touch.
That sounds as well like you must also need really good listening skills.
Yeah, more listening than talking, I guess. And we'll occasionally throw the odd note down, if we want to remember something. But yeah, you are listening predominantly. It's almost like, going to see a hairdresser, you're hearing a lot of the problems, and then you're coming back with a positive stimulus, which is exercise, to help those problems, I guess.
And on the sort of personal trainer aspect and the qualification of that, can you tell us a bit about sort of how long it took for you to train as a personal trainer and what sort of things you had to do?
Well, for any young people listening, then it's quite an easy process, really. Usually you'd go through what's called a level 2 gym instructor qualification, right, which would involve a few weeks of getting some experience on the gym floor, and then you would then take what's called the level 3 personal training award. So it's awarded by lots of people in the UK, sort of like YMCA, or you can search on right, Google for plenty of providers. And then you'd take a course that would involve maybe some distance learning about anatomy and physiology, and then it would finish with a practical assessment of you taking someone through a personal training session, which could be face to face. So I think you can have you can send a video in now to some providers, but it will only take a matter of weeks to really qualify as a PT, personal trainer.
Oh, that's fantastic. So that's really useful to understand sort of you've got that process of actually how to become a personal trainer, but also on top of that, you've got all those sorts of the softer skills to actually be able to do that job really well.
Yeah, I think like most jobs, it's the qualification's one thing, but being good at it, is that it means caring about it and going that extra mile, really. So it's not hard to become a personal trainer. It's just hard to become a good one. You have to put some time and care and attention into the clients coming back.
Do you also have to be sort of, I know it probably sounds an odd thing to say, but do you also have to be quite organised in terms of booking people in and making sure you've got enough time with each person? And
yeah, I guess that is key, really. We run everything here via Google Calendar, and it's quite slick. If any of your people watching this have used it, you can set reoccurring bookings. So as soon as you see a new client, let's say Monday at 9 o'clock, you say, did you enjoy the session? How about next Monday at 9? You know you've got the gap. You set it in, it's a reoccurring booking, and then there's your Monday at 9 filled. And the tricky bit is then stacking those sessions all on top of each other. So then you've got a Monday at 8 and a Monday at 10, and then you've got a block of regular clients. And you do need to obviously be organised, especially when you're going on holiday, trying to make sure that that client is still exercising. So yeah.
Brilliant. So you need to be able to have sort of reasonable IT skills as well, for using things like Google Calendar, and I'm guessing like being able to use email effectively and those types of things too.
Yeah. I think most things have become digitalized, and these days all our trainers walk around with like a tablet or a laptop, and they'll actually do the programming on there. So it's just a lot more transferable. So if you have a personal trainer covering you, taking one of your clients, they can pick up the notes and say, okay, last week this client started with the treadmill. So yeah, everything's in one place, and we use Google Docs for the programming, Google Calendar for the scheduling, and Google Mail for the contact.
Oh, that's really helpful to understand. I guess as an owner, Ross, you probably have different things that you have to do each day. And I just sort of wondered, it might be that sort of no 2 days are the same, but give us a sort of rundown of a typical day in the life of Ross, like what you might do when you start out in the morning to when you're finishing up.
Cool. Well, I always cycle to work, which
of course you do.
It's a nice way to do it. But basically, I've got my clients all scheduled in, so the blocks of sessions are all set. And then I'll obviously be seeing each client individually based on their goals. So it's always quite different because every client's so different. We've got a lady here that's 85. We've also got a guy that's 18. So the day's different just based on your clients. So that remains quite exciting and variable. But as the owner, obviously, I've got lots of other tasks. So paying the staff, paying the bills, doing stuff like bringing in new clients. So it might be things like Google AdWords campaigns to boost the website, responding to emails, just all things like that come with running the business. Whereas my staff obviously just focus on the clients, and that's their main job.
So you've got sort of like a much broader remit of stuff that you do. Do you have to, so you've sort of said about paying people, so you need to be able to have those sorts of things in place, paying the bills. Also as well, do you have to sort of think about marketing with like your Google AdWords and those sorts of things? Is that all part of it?
Yeah, so for example, we ran a race recently where we ran the warm-up for a race up in Norfolk, and they said, well, we'd love to promote you. Can you print off 300 leaflets? So I obviously commissioned that, got them printed, and that was a good marketing strategy that we went up there, and 300 leaflets went into the goodie bags. Wow. We were there running, so those things, so marketing is really variable, but that was just one example of something that I might do to help boost the business.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that probably makes your role really varied as well. But I sort of wonder, how did you get into this, Ross? You said you saw a gap in the market sort of some time ago, but have you always worked in this type of environment?
Yeah, I started at university. I did a sport-related course.
Right.
So I was on that path, I guess. And then after that, it was the case of working in a gym like most people would when they start out in the industry, but realizing that it could be quite frustrating that your customers were coming for a bit with enthusiasm and then constantly dropping off. And everyone knows people that have had a gym membership and they don't go. And as a personal trainer in this situation, you're seeing good intentions fading away all the time. Yeah. So I thought, well, actually, the best way to get someone where they want to be is to see them regularly and give them the accountability of actually making sure they've got someone that cares for them. So then I went to Australia and sort of was a PT there in Sydney, because I thought,
Wow.
well, that seems to be a good heart. You always hear that Australia is a great place to be for the fitness industry. It's, you know, half of the people in Sydney seem to have a personal trainer, so the market was big. So I went and did that for a year, and I thought, well, Norwich is always a bit slower to catch up than other places, and this was 15 years ago. But I thought, I think we're ready for a bespoke personal training place like there was in Sydney. And now I think there's quite a lot of people out there that do what I do in Norwich, because the market is grown. But I just started out knowing that it was the best way to help people.
Oh, brilliant. That's so interesting to hear your story. It's so just fascinating to hear about how you got into it. And I guess probably, Ross, as a sort of note to end on, if you were to go back and have a conversation with younger Ross, just starting out on your career journey, what bit of careers advice would you give yourself, do you think?
I guess probably looking at the long game is probably the best advice, because I think if I took my chance earlier when the business was younger and my energy levels were like through the roof, I could have probably taken the business to Cambridge and Newmarket and expanded this way that we do things. But now 15 years on, I've now got a couple of young children, and that's very difficult to be able to mobilize myself to starting a new studio in Cambridge or London or somewhere. Whereas 10 years before, when the business was booming, I think actually dynamic fitness could have gone up and up and up. But as we stand, we're now just a nice independent Norwich business, but it could have been something huge.
So seizing the opportunities that come along in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. And taking risks while you've got the energy and the option to do that.
That's such a brilliant point, because I think sometimes it can be really, and I'm sure for people running their own business and people that I've spoken to, it can be really hard to think about how to take those risks in a measured way, can't it? But actually, if you are running your own business, you do have to be confident to take risks. And you obviously took one in starting out your business in the first place, and it's obviously paid off.
Yeah. So I did take the initial risk. I could have probably just taken a few more before running around after a couple of children, and that being sort of more your focus. So if you've got something good and the energy to run with it, go for it really while you can.
That's just a fantastic note to end on. Ross, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, Ruth, great to meet you.